In the last two classes, during our Google Meet session, we had some network issues, due to which some of you couldn't listen to my class. I had promised you that I would send a recorded video of my class. And here it is. Please watch this video and complete your notes. Okay? Today, let's learn about clauses and sentences. What do you mean by clause? Clause is a group of words which has a subject and predicate of its own. A clause is a group of words which has a subject and predicate of its own. What do you mean by predicate? A predicate is a part of a statement that says something about the subject. Okay? A predicate is a part of a statement that says something about the subject. For example, in the sentence, birds fly in the sky. Which is the subject in that statement? The subject is birds. Then, which is the predicate? Fly in the sky. Okay? Fly in the sky is the predicate. Birds is the subject and fly in the sky is the predicate. So, the predicate is a part of the sentence that says something about the subject. Is it clear to you? Okay. Clauses are mainly of two types. Okay. Which are they? Main clause or subordinate clause. Main clause is also known as independent clause or a clause or principal clause or coordinate clause. Okay. Clauses are mainly of two types. Main clause and subordinate clause. Main clause is also known as independent clause or a clause or coordinate clause or principal clause. And subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is also known as dependent clause or B clause. What do you mean by main clause? Main clause or independent clause? Just as the name indicates, a clause which can stand alone. Okay, a clause which can stand alone is known as independent clause or main clause. Okay, a clause that conveys a complete sense. A clause that conveys a complete meaning is known as main clause or independent clause. Then, subordinate clause or dependent clause. Just as the name indicates, a clause that cannot stand alone is the subordinate clause. Okay? A clause that cannot stand alone, a clause that does not convey a complete meaning is known as a subordinate clause or dependent clause or D clause. Is it clear to you? I have written two sentences. Look at the first sentence. The dog ran up when I whistled. How many clauses are there in this sentence? There are two clauses. The dog ran up is the first clause. When I whistled is the second clause. What kind of clause is this? The dog ran up. Can this clause stand alone? Does it convey complete meaning? Yes. This clause makes a complete sense. The dog ran up. So, it's a main clause. This is a main clause or independent clause. Then, what about this? When I whistled. Does it convey complete meaning? Can it stand alone? No, it can't. Something is, we need to add something in order to make a complete sense. Okay? So, when I whistled is a subordinate clause. Then, look at this sentence. I told him that he had failed. In this sentence also there are two clauses. I told him is the first clause, that he had failed is the second clause. I told him. This clause can stand alone. It conveys a complete meaning. It makes a complete sense. So, it is the main clause. Okay? I told him. I told him about something. It conveys a complete sense. So, it's a main clause. Then, that he had failed. That he had failed. It does not convey complete meaning. It can't stand alone. We need to add something to this in order to make a complete sense. So, it's a subordinate clause. Is it clear to you? on the type of clauses used in a sentence, sentences are of three types. Which are they? Sentences are of three types: simple, compound and complex. So based on the type of clauses used in a sentence, sentences can be divided into simple sentence, compound sentence and complex sentence. Okay? What do you mean by simple sentence? A simple sentence is a sentence which has only one independent clause. Okay? A simple sentence is a sentence with one independent clause or one main clause. Okay? There will be only one principal clause in a simple sentence. For example, she sings well. In this sentence, there is only one clause, and that clause is an independent clause. Okay? It conveys a complete meaning, it makes a complete sense, it can stand alone. There is only one independent clause. So this is a simple sentence. A simple sentence is a sentence with only one independent clause or main clause. Rama killed Ravana. This is again another example for an independent clause, and it's another example for a simple sentence. Okay? She sings well. Rama killed Ravana. Birds fly in the sky. I ate ice cream yesterday. Okay? This compound sentence. What do you mean by compound sentence? A compound sentence is a sentence which has two independent clauses. Okay? A compound sentence has two main clauses which are joined using coordinators. Okay? A compound sentence consists of two independent clauses joined using coordinators. Which are the coordinators in English? There is an easy way to remember the coordinators. What's the way to memorize the coordinators? Just remember the word fan boys. Okay? By remembering the word fan boys, we can easily memorize the coordinators in English. Okay? We need to expand the letters, each of the letters in fan boys. F stands for A for ant, N for no, D for but, O for or, Y for yet, S for so. Okay? So these are the coordinators in English. A compound sentence is a sentence which consists of two independent clauses joined using a coordinator. The coordinators are for, and, no, but, or, yet, so. Okay? Fan boys. Please remember this word, fan boys. Okay? So these are the coordinators. Using one of the coordinators, we can join two independent clauses in order to form a compound sentence. Example for compound sentence. First one, he is slow but he is steady. Here we can see two independent clauses. He is slow. It is one independent clause. Then he is steady. This is another independent clause. These two independent clauses are joined using the coordinator but. He is slow but he is steady. This is an example for a compound sentence. Then, run fast or you will miss the bus. Which are the two independent clauses in the sentence? Run fast. Run fast. It's a main clause. You will miss the bus. This is another independent clause. So these two independent clauses are joined using the coordinator or. So this is again another example for a compound sentence. Then look at the third sentence. She was poor yet she helped others. The two main clauses are she was poor. This is one clause. She helped others. This is another clause. And these two independent or main clauses are joined using the coordinator yet. Okay? So, this is a way to frame compound sentences. These are examples for compound sentence. Next is complex sentence. What do you mean by complex sentence? A complex sentence is a sentence with one main clause and one or more subordinate clauses. So in a complex sentence there will be one independent clause and one or more subordinate clauses joined using either a subordinator or a relative pronoun. Okay? There will be one independent clause and one or more subordinate clauses which are joined using either a subordinator or a relative pronoun. Which are the subordinators in English? There is an easy way to remember the subordinators. Just remember the word swap. Okay? We can expand the letters of the word swap in order to memorize the subordinators. S stands for since, W stands for when, A for after, A for although, B for because. Okay? So these are the subordinators. Which are the subordinators? Since, when, after, although, because. This can be easily remembered by remembering the word swap. So, in a complex sentence, one independent clause and one or more subordinate clauses can be joined using one of these subordinators or a relative pronoun, or these clauses can be joined using a relative pronoun. Which are the relative pronouns? That, who, which. Okay? I will give you examples for complex sentence. See, he is a man who has great ability. In this sentence, there is an independent clause and a subordinate clause. Join using the relative pronoun who. He is a man who has great ability. An independent clause and a subordinate clause is joined using the relative pronoun who. See, in the second sentence, I was on leave because of a severe headache. I was on leave because of a severe headache. Here, there is an independent clause and a subordinate clause joined using a subordinator because. Okay? An independent clause and a subordinate clause is joined using a subordinator because. So these two sentences are examples for complex sentence. Make a list of adjectives that come to your mind when you look at each picture. Nominalize the adjectives to nouns and frame two sentences for each of the given pictures. The first one is done for you. Here we can see three pictures. In the first picture we can see a man cutting down a tree. The second picture we can see smoke being emitted. And in the third picture we can see another person hunting an antelope. Okay? So, what we need to do? We need to list out some adjectives. We need to make a list of some adjectives that come to our mind on seeing these pictures. Just write down some adjectives that come to your mind on seeing these pictures and then convert each of these adjectives into noun form. Okay? Nominalize adjectives to nouns means convert the adjectives to nouns and frame two sentences. Write down two sentences for each of the given pictures. You can write one sentence by using an adjective and you can write the second sentence by using the noun form of that adjective. Okay? One example is given here. Adjective selfish. Selfish is an adjective. What's the noun form of that adjective selfish? It's selfishness. Okay? Then here there are two sentences. One sentence using the adjective selfish and another sentence using its noun form. Let's see. We kill trees to make our selfish desires come alive. Soon it will be too late to regret this selfishness. Here in these two sentences, we can see the use of an adjective in the first sentence, and in the second sentence that adjective is converted to the noun form. Okay. Similarly, just make a list of a few adjectives, convert it into their noun form and frame 2 sentences for each picture, each of these 2 pictures. Can you do it? Okay, then please do it along. Write 2 independent clauses and join the 2 by a coordinator to frame 2 compound sentences on the following. The first one is done for you. Here, the activity is to frame 2 compound sentences. Okay. Here an example is given. Let's see. Heart. Independent clause. People with a big heart are said to have a heart of gold. Heartless people are said to have a heart of stone. Here we can see 2 sentences about heart. What is it about? The 2 sentences are about heart. And these 2 are independent clauses. The first independent clause is people with a big heart are said to have a heart of gold. And the second independent clause is heartless people are said to have a heart of stone. So here we can see 2 independent clauses, and these 2 independent clauses are joined using a coordinator in order to frame a compound sentence. So, which is that compound sentence? People with a big heart are said to have a heart of gold, but heartless people do have a heart of stone. So, this is a compound sentence formed by joining these 2 independent clauses. And which is the coordinator used to join these 2 independent clauses? The coordinator used in this sentence is but. Okay, these 2 independent clauses are joined using the coordinator but in order to form this compound sentence. Similarly, we need to write down 2 independent clauses about Bishnois. We need to write down 2 independent clauses about Bishnois, and then we need to frame a compound sentence. We need to write a compound sentence by joining these 2 independent clauses using a coordinator. Okay. Similarly, we need to write 2 independent clauses about soldiers, and we have to join these 2 independent clauses to form a compound sentence. So that's the task. Is the question clear to you? Then can you do this as homework? Children, please take page number 20 in your textbook. I will read a small passage titled The Silent Workers of Land and Sea. Listen carefully and then answer the questions in the response sheet. Okay? Okay, then I will read out. The silent workers of land and sea. It may be doubted whether there are any other animals which have played so important role in the history of the world as have these lovely creatures, says Charles Darwin. Earthworms enable farmers in effective plowing, manuring and harrowing. They till the ground and create tunnels that allow air and moisture to pass through, which in turn helps in the healthy growth of plants. Tunnels store water that can be used by plants and also allow the air to pass, which causes the bacteria to break down the organic matter within the soil. After they digest their food, they produce excreta that is known as casting or vermicompost, which functions as a good soil conditioning material. It improves the porosity of soil and it helps in retaining moisture. What do you mean by porosity? Porosity means the ability to absorb fluid. Okay, the ability to absorb fluid or water. These good friends of farmers and gardeners are killed in large numbers due to the pesticides used. The sea too has something great to offer. The phytoplankton. It is an amazing fact that phytoplankton provides the most essential nutrients of any one food source on earth. It can heal and prevent disease through its nutritive and detoxifying properties. Phytoplankton are microscopic plants that live in the ocean. These small plants are very important to the ocean and to the whole planet. Obtaining energy by photosynthesis, Marine phytoplankton contain an abundance of nutrients. Phytoplankton supply about 90% of the oxygen on Earth and are the basis of all the life forms on the Earth. These microscopic plants from the ocean are the best source of rare minerals and elements. The tiny phytoplankton also gobble up carbon dioxide to produce half the world's oxygen output, equaling that of trees and plants on land. Phytoplankton is the most complete health food known to humanity and a true superfood. Phytoplankton has sufficient nutrients to eliminate diseases, but their numbers have dwindled since the beginning of the 20th century. Are we responsible for this major loss to our ecosystem? Have you listened to me carefully? Now, can you answer the questions in page 20? Okay, please try.